Hey Toasters! For today's video, we have more of a discussion rather than a rating that I've done previously with Animal Jam videos. I'm sure most jammers have a very complicated relationship with the Animal Jam economy. If you're confused, what I mean is the trading or buying of items from other jammers as well as item values. Today, I will be doing a thorough analysis of the Animal Jam economy, its problems, and how it can be improved. So let's not waste any more time and jump right into it. So, when Animal Jam was originally released in 2010, there wasn't much of an economy. The only way jammers could exchange items was through the gifting features, so, as you can imagine, many jammers agreed to do gifting trades, but then one was blocked and unbuddied after the other jammer gifted the items. This, of course, was a problem, and shows scamming has been around since the beginning of the game. This led Animal Jam to create the trading function, but as scammers do, they found a way to work around this. Jammers would do giveaways and have jammers trade them rare items for necklaces or store items. The host would claim to turn all these offers down just to see who would give the most rare item. Of course, the host usually accepted the biggest trade that was offered, and like they said, lock their den and scam the player again. This led to the trading system as we know now with the double confirm options, so flash trading can't happen as easily. For a while, trading was the only way to build up in the game, but then Animal Jam released in-game shops where jammers could sell their own items for gems or diamonds. Now, with these two methods, let's discuss items and rarity. So, to state it as simply as possible, the longer an item hasn't been in stores, generally, the more rare it is. And when I say stores, I mean the stores curated by the game that puts new items out for jammers, or old items, again. And as I said, this is a very simplistic way to state it, which we will get into later, but for example, black long collars haven't been in stores since possibly the beta days, or the beginning of Animal Jam. So, they're heavily desired and very rare in the game. Many jammers want them. While the necklace has been in stores since the release of Animal Jam, so it's considered one of the least rare items in Animal Jam, because you can go and buy it whenever you want, unlike black collars, as I stated a few seconds ago. So, with trading in jammer stores, items are priced off of how much jammers want them and how long it's been since they've been in stores. To add another level, there's also the consideration of if the item will come back into stores or not. Like seasonal items come into stores usually every year, so while Christmas items might be really valuable in the summer, in November they might be expected to come back soon as the value goes down. As you listen to me explain, I'm sure you're already seeing how complicated the system is. Further in the video, I'll dive more into this, but that's the basic. So let's dive into Animal Jam more and its problems. So trading. As we discussed, it's the original way to exchange items in Animal Jam and build up your inventory. Through trading, jammers are able to trade an item for another or multiple items of different values, up to one. Nowadays, I would say trading is the least liked method compared to buying items from jammer stores. Jammer stores make the purchasing experience less annoying. While you can just go into a store and hand over your diamonds for a spike, trading, you might have to take multiple attempts that each take 5 minutes, which gets annoying. So, how does this simple exchange of goods get so complicated? Well, the whole point of Animal Jam is it's an online player base, with individuals who all have their own preferences. So, maybe I decide I want something off a player's trade list, and I trade them 2 items for what I have read are of equal value. Well, they decline. Well, for one, you can hope the player tells you why they declined it. But if they don't, you can guess. They didn't like the color, they didn't like one of the items offered, they didn't deem the items of worth value. This is the problem with the item's value being partially up to the viewer's discretion. You might think, well, that's how stores work in real life. Well, not really. Stores base the value off prices other stores are offering for it, the price of production by the company or the store, and the general demand for it, not how much they like the individual item. For example, when you go into Walmart, a bag of chips will remain the same price or relatively the same in all Walmarts. Then, if you go to a Target, the same bag of chips will most likely be a similar price. The stores aren't going to not let you exchange your money for the good if you have a proper amount of money. But if you trade a jammer with 2 Den Betas for a short wrist, they might decline because they didn't like the Den Beta. Or they might want a higher value because the item is more valuable to them as an individual. This makes trading extremely complicated. You might also be curious, how can you figure out the worth of an item? Well, you can ask jammers, but I don't recommend that, as they could stake higher than the value to get more items out of you. The majority of jammers check the Animal Jam wiki, which has the monetary value and item values for the items. The wiki itself is a good source, but many kids, who the game is directed for, aren't going to understand the fact that to get the item they want, they need to go online and look it up rather than just trade their items. It's a lot. Now, I'm not going to trash the wiki as I think it's a great source for jammers, but I will say I don't know how frequently the wiki is updated, which could be a problem. Yeti Claws state they are currently valued at a Den Beta, which a Den Beta is a Den item that hasn't been released since the beta days. But a Den Beta hasn't been in stores for 15 years, and Yeti Claws were just in stores in October. How are they of equal value? One could argue player demand, but I'm not sure if the wiki has been updated since Yeti Claws were in stores. With this, now all players who check the wiki think Yeti Claws are worth a Den Beta, and I won't certainly give a Den Beta for them, as I know other players who also feel the same way, as they were just in stores. And as you can tell, this is a lot. For the trading system, it's nearly impossible for a new jammer to get a grasp on it without watching videos, reading guides, and discussing with players. And I don't know, if I was new to the game, I don't know if I would play if I had to do all that. Stores are a lot newer in Animal Jam, and in my opinion, a lot easier to understand and use, but also a lot more easy to get scammed on. As I stated, jammer stores allow players to sell items from their own individual inventories. To figure out how much to sell these for, jammers can check the wiki or just decide based on how much they value the item. As I said, it's much similar, but jammers abuse this system heavily. They rely on the fact jammers won't look up the worth and will trust their worth listed in their store. On Animal Jam Play Wild, this problem is solved easily by adding a search function for all stores in Coral Canyons, where if you look, you can see what jammers have this item listed for in all their stores. So, if one is listed a lot higher than the others, you know they are most likely trying to scam you. But in AJ Classic, this isn't a function. I can't express the amount of stores I've seen where jammers list the same item at different prices to make people think they're getting a deal on the one listed lower. For example, listing a flower crown at 20 diamonds and then the same one at 15 diamonds, thinking the one at 15 diamonds is a deal. And the worst part is, I've fallen for this trick. But usually the lower listed items I can guarantee are still listed higher than their valued worth. But just seeing the higher ones makes you think, oh, I'm getting a deal. Which you could look it up, but will you? This causes a lot of jammers to get scammed as they jump on the item they think is cheap, but after they get to see a chance to see other shops, they might realize they paid too much. Of course, you might not consider this scamming, as it is up to the individual if they want to buy the item, but it's tough. Personally, my method is I just find a price I am willing to pay and don't regret it after, usually. But this works and is why I prefer shops. They seem a lot less complicated than trading. Very few Animal Jam items have values that stay the same all the time. The few I can think of that haven't changed in the 10 years I've played are headdresses, spikes, clothing betas, and dem betas. Besides those many items that are rare now, I guarantee they won't be a year from now. This might not seem like a problem for the everyday player, but an important part of the player base of a game is casual players. And I know casual players struggle to keep up with the constant changing of item values. While there are other things players can do in the game, the biggest part of it is trying to get more items and rare items. And without buying into the economy, that's impossible to do. Another important part of the player base is new players. A game can't survive off of dedicated old fans. They need new ones. But I don't think I've met a single new jammer on Animal Jam or that has stuck around for a while, or a player who has started playing in the past few years. While I'm sure those players exist, they don't make up the majority of the player base, which isn't good. The economy being so fluctuating causes new players to get confused and just decide to not play. This leaves casual players constantly catching up on what they missed as well. As I spend a lot of time discussing my problems with the economy, how can we go about fixing it? Well, I think for starters, stores adding the same feature that's already in Animal Jam Play Wild would go a long way. Besides shops I think are relatively fine. Yes, they have their problems, but they aren't big enough to detract players from using them. For trading, I think a similar feature to Monopoly, where during the trade the individual can edit what's being offered by looking at the player's inventory, could be a good feature. I'm not sure exactly how this would work, but I think it could help how picky jammers are with what they want for their items. Of course, this could result in the person trading not wanting to give away their items that the jammer selected, but it would also save a lot of time from having to trade over and over again. For item values, this is unfortunately always going to be hard in the game, but adding some sort of guidebook in the game could be very helpful. Maybe stating how long ago items were in stores, or something similar. Something so players could be in the game and discover this information rather than having to leave the game to constantly check values. Or when you click on the item in someone's trade list, maybe it states the value or what the player wants for it. These solutions might seem bad, so I'd like to hear your ideas in the comments. Thank you all for watching and listening to my discussion. Please comment on your own ideas and what you'd like to see from me in the future. And of course, have a rosy day.